Hey there, Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. Thanks for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about the idea of elbow up. And this is kind of it's a tough conversation because, you can say, well, you don't want to teach kids elbow up, and then you see your favorite hitters on TV and you see some of these guys getting that sucker up really high. Well, what you have to understand is the difference between what a kid thinks elbow up is and then having the top hand arm engaged in the back correctly are two different things, right? So Uncle Joe at a 7U baseball game yelling, "Hey, little Jimmy, get the elbow up," tends to turn into a disconnect where they're just trying to focus on getting the elbow higher. And getting the elbow higher in itself and disconnecting it from the rest of the working parts is not a good idea, because this is why coaches don't like it. Kids will ultimately collapse the barrel. So the hand and arm that's closest to the barrel is extremely important. And I like for players to have it back and get as much range of motion as possible. Range of motion is extremely important if you want to have power, right? So I like for my players to have it back. Range of motion is important for making adjustments. So you can have a player that is starting here and you can hit from that position, but you're going to be limited in the zone, and you're probably going to be limited in the amount of bat speed that you can create from there. So I tend to follow just very easy rules when it comes to this, right? So whenever you're thinking about grip, you want to make sure that the palm of the top hand is facing the direction of where we're going, right? So you'll see kids will be wrapped like this. And when we do this, what you're going to see is that these players will, as they begin to unload the bat, right, their palm naturally is going to roll this way because the muscles that are needed in order to go this direction are not available from here or what have you, right? Unless you're going to plan on punching with it or something, but nobody's going to do that. So from here, you're going to see kids are going to naturally roll everything backwards first. So it's really important to start off in a position where you're already kind of locked in, and then from here, getting the top hand arm behind this. So this is why most of my players, I'll have players that will have, higher top hand elbows going back, right? But they're not thinking about getting it higher, right, and disconnecting it. They're just getting more range of motion because they're connected to the back correctly. So let me say this about grip. I made that grip video recently, and I know a lot of people teach door knockers, and I didn't talk about door knockers. And I think door knocker grips are not necessarily wrong, but the reason why I don't teach kids to do that is because the way that it's typically taught is kids will wrap their wrists to get their knuckles lined up like this. And so if you're thinking about a body's relationship to the barrel, the more that I wrap and get my wrist pulling together like this, the more that the connection is really, the relationship is wrist and barrel connection. And I think the bottom hand arm and the top hand arm play a tremendous role in creating explosiveness. And if I have disconnected these mechanisms for just in order to get my knuckles in a certain way, I don't think that's going to create a lot of energy. Now, again, a lot of good hitters will lean towards that, but a good rule of thumb is if you have the top hand palm facing the right direction and you connect the bottom hand, typically what you're going to see is you're going to see the door knockers for the top hand are going to be a little bit more in between the little knuckles and the big knuckles on the bottom hand naturally. So I'm here, I got it all back, boom, okay, there it is, just like that. And so they may lean towards door knockers, but if you have a kid out here and they just start immediately wrapping, okay, I got to find door knockers, and they're going to twist the wrist together. And if you feel that, that's really a tough spot for a kid to learn to move the bat from, right? And it really does, from at least from what my experience is, it really does lean towards putting the kids' emphasis at the wrist and the barrel instead of what the bigger muscle groups are doing. So you want to make sure that that relationship's good, right? Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. Thanks.